Now I just want to show you a few different ways of how you can make the basic frame for a wreath that you can use things from your garden to make with. Now you can go to a shop and buy one of these pre-made wire frames or polystyrene or whatever they're made out of, but you can easily make your own. There's a few different ways. This is one of them. Just take a wire coat hanger and then just bend it. It bends really easily. And when you've bent it, you end up with a circle like that. So that is the basis for making a wreath. And you've already got a hanger on the top, so you can hang it anywhere you want. Now you can also use different gauges of wire. I've got one here that's all hooked up. This is really good, this wire, for applying different flora or whatever you want to it. I've got it in green. You can get it in silver as well, but I've got the green so it all blends in nice. But if you want to make your own hoop, no matter what size you want, I've got this thicker gauge, and again it just bends so easily. You can bend that into a heart shape, an oval, a round, and you just need a pair of pliers like that, so you can turn the end over and you can even cut it to the length you want. And I've done one here a bit earlier, and you can see there I've got a full hoop there, and all I've done here, can you see that? I've just bent over so that unhooks, so that just hooks together there like that, and you've got the basic wire shape to start making your wreath on. Now I'm going to make a start on the large wreath, and I've got my thick wire ring here. And I'm just going to start off with the ivy, and I've just cut some long strips. Now you can decide, I think this is my way, you can do your own way, which way you want it to go round. It's good if everything you apply goes in the right way, and then it looks nice and even, not too messy. Or you could have it that way, so it's going round clockwise or anti-clockwise. I think I'll go anti-clockwise because the natural bend in this is taking me around this way. So I'm working with what I'm being given. And I've cut out lots of little pieces of wire here. And it's just a question of starting off. Now you could put a few together if you wanted to. Just gently, you don't have to do it tightly. And the good thing is when you twist it, it'll hold it in position, but don't try to bend it out of the way, because those two bits of wire could be really good for securing the next bit. So then you've just got to patiently go around, get your first wreath knot, as it was, around here. And you can use as many of these, and because you've got green on green, it works really well. And just a twist, and then just gently ease it around the ring, just tying it off as you go around. So I've gone most of the way around with that single ivy there, and when it finishes, then you can add your next ivy twig and put those two together and make sure the ivy is going in the direction that you've been going, so it all goes smoothly. And again, just a little bit of wire, a little twist. That'll keep that in position, and then just go all the way around. As you're going around, you'll come to the other pieces of wire, and you can use those to hold it in position. And you just add as many twigs of ivy as you want to use. And there you can see the wire where I did the first twist, and all I've got to do then is add that one and just twist again. If you need extra wire, just cut some and use it. So there you can see I've finished the basic wreath, and you can make them much bushier if you want to, or smaller. And I've actually used 3 different types of ivy. I've got the darker ivy underneath, then the medium coloured ivy, then I've got the lighter coloured ivy on the top. Just brings it alive instead of it just being all a dark colour. Now you can make these in any size you want. You can use them obviously to hang up, or you could use them in the centre of a table with candles and other things. Now that is your basic ivy wreath. Now as this goes on, it'll dry out, it'll last you a few weeks or a few months even, but then think about it as an investment. You can spray it gold for Christmas, or silver, or all sorts of different things. Now you can decorate this up if you want to, and I'll show you a few different ways of doing that. Now I've had a good rummage around the garden. I've found lots of different flower heads that have gone dry, some ivy. I've got some lavender here, which I'm going to use in the wreath, and that smells beautiful, so it depends if you want it indoors or outdoors, it doesn't matter. Then you've got this cacochnalia, I can never say that word, but I've got interesting heads there. These are what I'm just going to work with. I'll cut these off. Then I've also got this thistle that was in the garden. It's like an ornamental, I don't know what the name is, but the architecture of these heads here are fantastic. I think they look lovely. And I've also got various ivies in the garden, and I've just got a selection. I think there's 3 different kind of colourways there, so they'll look interesting when you put them together. And if you want a bit of colour in there, you can find things. I've got some of the rowan tree here. Make sure you don't take all of them. Save some for the birds and the wildlife, etc. So you can have a good look around your garden and see what there is in this autumnal time that you can make and use in your wreaths. Now I've got some of the seed heads out of the garden. I've got this nice thistly one, and I've got this one, I think it's cacochnalia, whatever it is, I always get it wrong. Anyway, you could use those individually, but I find if you group them, it looks much better on the wreath. So I'm just going to trim these off here and make them into like a little bouquet. And be careful of the spiky ones. So I've got one of the heads here, and it's basically just like making a little bouquet. You just put them all together and group them. I like to have the one in the middle slightly higher, and then just put these around. I'm no florist, and I've never made a wreath before. I'm just doing it by instinct, but this feels right. And then when you've got them together, you can just wrap a piece of wire around, which you can also use to secure to the wreath. So you can see I've made them into all assorted poses there, or clusters, whatever you want. What I've got is this, and what I've done is to say wired those together. You've got all those there. When you've got the lavender, I've just done them into little sheaths. Then you've got this one here, which is like a thistle, all dried out. You could spray that gold or silver if you want to, but I'm keeping it all natural. I've got some rowan berries here too, but I've just left those because they're nice and colourful as they are. But here I've got some rose hips, and I've just wired, I've cut all the thorns off and the leaves, and I've just wired the hips together there. Now they're ready to attach to the wreath. Now I've got my cluster here, and I've just trimmed the edges off. That makes it easier to put in between the ivy. So that's going to go in there, and I've got a longer piece of wire which I can put either side there, thread it through to the back, and then you can twist that at the back so it's securely in position. Now I've added all of the 5 sprays on this, and you can see they're all flowing round that way. You can, if you want, start at the bottom and go that way and that way. There's lots of different options you can do. Now I think that looks fantastic on its own like that, but you know me, I always have to add something more. So I've got the lavender next, and those I'm going to fix overlapping these ones here and just tuck them in and wire them down as well. And there you can see I've added the lavender here. So again, you could stop there, and I think it looks beautiful with just the lavender on. Next, I'm going to take the bunch of thistles that I've put together, and this is going to be wired in, tucked under, just overlapping the lavender. Now you can see I've added the thistle, the dried thistle, to the wreath here all the way around, and you can see there they're tucked into the ivy. Next thing we're going to add is, to overlay over the thistle, is the rose hips. So I've got the rose hip here, and at the same time I'm also going to fix in the rowan berry. So there we have it, the finished wreath, and I think as it was all free, I think it looks pretty good. Now you can use lots of different materials, whatever you want to, and you can use it like this on a table as a centerpiece, or you can obviously hang that on a door or whatever you want. And I think it looks really nice, and you can see how by clustering the colours and the different foliage, it just looks right. Anyway, it does to me anyway. You can add anything to this if you want. Christmassy, if you want it Christmassy, or keep it autumnal. Now my plan is with this one is to keep it autumnal, and then as it dries out and goes a little bit naff looking, I'm going to spray it gold or silver or black or any colour you want, and then it'll look quite spectacular. So that's how to make a wreath, and you can use whatever materials you like. Now when you've finished making your wreath, you might find you've got lots of bits left over. Now you can make some very simple wreaths just by wrapping them around your hand. And I'll just show you an example here. I've got the ivy here, and all I'm doing is holding it in my hand there and just gently wrapping that around. Like so, into a circle. You can make this into any size that you want. I've done this to fit one of those battery operated candles, and then just take a little bit of wire and just secure that like so. And you can tidy that up a little bit, just bend it a little bit more into the shape you want. You can add berries to that if you want, and there's a second one that I've done. So you can make all different sizes of wreaths very simply.